Is a longtime friend of Montclair Bird Club, Jim Wright. He's done many presentations over the decades, and every one of them has been top notch. He's come to us with his book on the Screech Owl Companion, which was excellent, and the real James Bond, which is another fascinating topic. When he's not writing, he's monitoring nesting peregrines for state of New Jersey. In the spring, he coordinates the state line hawk watch each fall. And every other week, he writes a birding column for the Record in northern New Jersey. So tonight, our presentation is on his new book, The Peregrine Falcon. It's a bird that I'm sure we've all seen, we admire, we respect, and I'm sure this presentation is going to teach us many new things about the peregrine. Jim, all yours.
Great, thanks. Thank you to the Montclair Bird Club for inviting me tonight, and thanks to all of you for tuning in. Before I get started, I'm not sure how we do this, but there's a show of hands or something.
Expand that population without creating any temptations to humans. As you all probably know.
We have
to turn off all your microphones if you would.
Good idea.
I'm just curious how many, I don't know if you do a show of hands or how it works, but how many people are watching the live streams of the Peregrine Falcons these days? One or two? It's I'll get into it in a little bit, but it's really
Elizabeth was incredible last night.
What's that?
The ones in Elizabeth were incredible last night.
Yes, and today. We'll get into that in a little bit. I'm actually going to share the screen with the YouTube video of them today, I hope. So if all goes well, we'll do that. So I'm going to share the screen now. Famous last words. How's that look?
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Great. I can't see you guys anymore, but I hope you can see me.
Yes, we can.
Great. I'm going to get started with a free peregrine photography tip at the end. And this is an idea just to make sure everyone sticks around and watches the show. They also have a public bait station. I just wonder, can everyone see that thing at the top that I can see with all the audio and all that stuff, or hopefully not?
All we see is a black box that says Protect Evo Express.
Okay, then we're fine. Great. So a little public service announcement. This has been a campaign of mine for a while about, they're called rat bait stations. And if you look around at shopping centers and office parks and warehouses, they're all over. And they're basically rat poison is animal poison dispensers. Wildlife and pets are at risk, and they're so dangerous, these things cannot be used around schools. I guess you guys remember Flacco, the Eurasian eagle owl that some morons released in Central Park, and he eventually died from eating a rat that had been poisoned. And the way these things work is the rat eats the poison and dies a slow death, usually way beyond this rat bait station. And it's easy prey for predators from anything from owls and other raptors to bobcats, foxes, anyone. And they often die a slow death or destroy their immune system. So pretty nasty stuff. The other problem is that they're used willy-nilly. They're often next to open dumpsters, and you're never going to get rid of rats. You can have 1,000 rat poison dispensers, but if you have a free buffet for the rats, they multiply so quickly that the rat poison dispensers will never catch up and cause all kinds of collateral damage in the meantime. Also, I learned that peregrines eat rat poison. They eat rats that have been poisoned. And I'm a leader of a coalition that speaks to the nastiest rat poisons in our state. We have more than 24 environmental groups, wildlife rehabilitators, and humane societies in our corner as we seek to legislation to ban these nasty rat poison dispensers. Here's a picture a friend in Massachusetts sent of a peregrine actually catching a rat and also flying by a dumpster. At least this one is closed. But they do all kinds of damage, and hopefully we can make a difference in New Jersey like other states have done. So on a brighter note, I'll get on with the talk. Just wanted to mention that Kevin Watson really helped me with the talk and took a lot of the pictures. So if it's a Peregrine Falcon picture that doesn't labeled as such or credited as such, then Kevin took it. There is a picture that Wayne Quinto took that is terrific, and I was so pleased I get it into the book, and I'll show that in a little while. So a little about me. That's me at State Line Lookout on the Hudson River Palisades. Many of you probably recognize this. And it also has one of the local peregrines in the background in the lower right-hand corner. State Line is a mecca for watching peregrines. It's one place I know where you can actually take a selfie of yourself with a peregrine falcon if the time is right. So I hope everyone visits State Line when they get a chance. I'm the new Hawk Watch coordinator there for the fall migration. And I know you have your Montclair Hawk Watch, but I'm looking for volunteers for State Line as well. I've written the Birdwatcher column for several New Jersey newspapers for probably 16 years now. And this is the most recent column saying this is the time to go out and look for birds. And I think that's proving true. I've written The Nature of the Meadowlands, Screech Owl Companion, The Real James Bond, and a book about Hawk Mountain. I've also monitored the red-shouldered hawks nesting in Allendale, New Jersey, and this got me started monitoring birds for the state of New Jersey. The red-shouldered hawks are endangered when they're nesting, and they, fortunately for Allendale, have been nesting there for 20 years or so. And I get to look in and watch them and make sure everything is okay. I've also written about raptors and raptor cams for 2 decades, and including an ebook and blog posts for Duke Farms and their amazing bald eagle, their eagle cam, which is spectacular. So how I fell in love with peregrine falcons. Quite simply, I met the beast, the legendary beast. I met her at State Line Hawk Watch when I was counting raptors in the fall during the migration. And when things got slow, the beast would fly in and start calling and land near me as if, hey, take my picture. And I'm not used to birds flying in like that to have their picture taken. And I would talk to her and I felt like we were friends. And I talked to a fellow bird watcher and said, hey, that one female peregrine is astounding. And he goes, oh, you've met the beast. And I go, the beast? What do you mean? He says, well, during the spring, when they were nesting, the peregrines are nesting, a young bald eagle flew down the Hudson River, and the beast flew out to greet it and killed the bald eagle outright. I know it's a little gruesome, but that's how she got her name. And I've had other anecdotes about her flying out and killing gulls and anything else that was on her territory. So she intrigued me. And then she had her mate was called the Dude because he would just sit there preening all day. But after the beast disappeared, he kind of ruled the roost and would pose for pictures, which is delightful if you're a bird watcher or a photographer. Because of the beast, I wanted to find out more about peregrines in general and peregrines on the Palisades in particular. And before I knew it, I'd gone down a rabbit hole. I started monitoring nesting peregrines on the Hudson River Palisades for the state, and I did as much research as I could. One of the big pluses of the book for me is Kevin Watson's photography. I decided I'd write a book And I realized that writing a book about these iconic raptors without memorable images would be like writing lyrics without music to go with them. So I've seen many amazing photos of peregrines, many taken at State Line, and I've worked with Kevin on other books. So I figured he also had traveled the world and taken pictures of falcons from all over the world, and I thought we were in business. To a much greater extent than my previous books, I inject a lot of personal experiences into this book, and it comes at a time when so much of what we read is generated by artificial intelligence. It's great information, at least most of it is, and but it strips most of the written word of its humanity and its charm. I say it's not called artificial intelligence for nothing. Uh, this picture is in the book because when I was monitoring the peregrines after the babies had fledged, I was still checking the nest, and I heard this loud calling from beneath where I was on the cliff. And I looked down, and there was a fledgling peregrine, and I went, "Wow!" And I got down on all fours and crawled out to the edge of the ledge, started taking pictures, when all of a sudden the beast came flying at me. And I went, "Oh my goodness, hey, it's me, it's Jim." And she came right at me and veered off at the last minute. I'd like to think it was because I knew her and she recognized me, but I just count my lucky stars that she veered at the last minute. But there's a lot of anecdotes like that in the book, and I think they enrich the book. Makes the peregrines not just birds, but birds as individuals, which I think we need to think of them more as. That personal approach, I think, paid off. Booklist wrote in a review of the book, full of personal anecdotes from Wright's many years as a nest monitor and hawk watcher, and quotes from scientists and early naturalists, and richly illustrated with beautiful color photos. This will be the Peregrine primer for years to come. So I'm here to talk about my book today, but I'm mostly here to talk about peregrines. Most people know they're very fast and they're almost extinct along with bald eagles and ospreys. But one of the most unique and timely aspects of this book is its description of nesting season and how to understand what you watch at home via a live stream and what to expect, including the good and the bad. Peregrine falcons are internet stars. I know a lot of us know the Union County cams in Elizabeth, but you can watch them year round online. In the fall, you can watch them in New Zealand and Australia, and it's always a great show. And that's part of the attraction of watching these live streams. It's unscripted reality TV. And over a month and a half, you watch babies so weak that they can barely lift their heads until they grow up into these boisterous young raptors learning how to fly. If they make it in the world and survive that first brutal year, they will become the ultimate killing machines and doting parents. I love this picture. This is the nest cam in Elizabeth with a recently hatched baby. If things go well, I'll be able to show you this nest cam. It happened. It's an amazing story this year. This is the cam I feature in the book, and there's actually 3 cams, so you have 3 great views. Things were going great. Female laid 5 eggs when all of a sudden another female arrived and evicted her. And she started incubating the eggs. The male hung around, and there's a question of whether the eggs would be viable. And everyone's been watching, holding their best breath. They were supposed to hatch last weekend, and nothing happened. So let me see if I can get this. Hold on one second. I just have to find the... Can people see this, I hope?
No, it's a black screen.
Uh-oh. I will move ahead then. My apologies. I seem to have lost my screen as well. What I was going to say about this, if I can find my screen.
Maybe stop sharing and then try again. So
That's a good idea.
I don't, well, let me,
Okay, now we're back. Sorry about that. Now I'll try sharing again. So what I was going to say was we had.
are people seeing the screen share? No. Did I do?
Okay, we're going to be back now, I think.
I can see it okay.
I'll try. So you can see the screen?
No, yeah, getting there.
Not really. It says continue to share.
Mhm.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, we're back, right?
Yes.
Sorry about that. So what I
There's a
wanted to
sign
show
in the
you.
middle. It says continue to share. Continue to share this. There we go.
Okay, thanks. Try it again. Sorry. Can you see?
We see something that says watch video on YouTube error 153 video player configuration error.
Okay, let's move
my
on.
gosh.
Sorry about that. What I wanted to say was this was an amazing day. One female laid 5 eggs, and the female then was evicted by a new female who then started incubating the eggs. And there was a long period of time when these eggs were not being incubated, and many people feared that these eggs were not viable. But about 4 days late, today, 2 of the eggs hatched. One last night, I believe, and one today, and there may be a possibility of a third. So in the book, I talk about the Elizabeth peregrine babies, and the first rule of watching live stream peregrines is don't count your peregrines before they hatch. And unfortunately, this year is kind of ironically true. Maybe 2 or 3 of the 5 are going to hatch. And the great thing about the book and watching these peregrines is you watch these guys who can barely keep their head up get bigger and bigger until they fledge and become miniature fighting machines. And one thing you don't know when you watch a live stream is what happens after they jump out of the nest. And so I have quite a few pictures, mostly from State Line, of these young peregrines after they left the nest. And we'll see if you can hear this.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive.
Connected to MacBook Air 3.
All buildings at a single bound. Oh, up in the sky.
Not working again?
We heard it.
Mobile device found. Ready to pair. MacBook Air 3. Mike's iPhone 11. MacBook Air. Mike's iPhone 11.
Sorry about that.
Mobile device not found.
I'm gonna.
Ready to pair.
Anyway, it was the opening to Superman. I'm sorry it didn't work.
Than a speeding bullet.
There it is.
More powerful than a locomotive. All buildings at a single bound. Up in the sky. Fire.
It's Superbird. And I guess the question everyone asks is just how fast are peregrines? And the answer is it depends on who's counting. According to most experts, peregrines' top speed is roughly 200 miles an hour. And if you've ever seen one in a controlled dive, also known as a stoop, you'll believe it. It makes them by far the fastest creature on the planet. I've heard that a peregrine has been clocked at 242 miles an hour, but I think that comes with an asterisk. A gentleman on the West Coast flew up with an airplane, jumped out of the plane with a peregrine falcon named Frightful, and then clocked it as they were in free fall from about 3 miles up. And the peregrine reached 242 miles an hour, which was unbelievable, except the peregrine didn't get up there by its own strength. It was taken up in an airplane. So the peregrine really didn't go that fast on its own. And if you count that as the world record, then you probably have to count the parachutist as the world's fastest human, because he was doing 242 miles an hour at the same time. So what enables them to fly so fast? Basically, everything about them. I go into greater detail in the book, but they're the quintessential flying machine. The B-2 stealth bomber basically was designed after them. And some of the turbines on some of these high-speed planes, if you look at the nostril on that peregrine there, you'll see something called a tubercle. And the turbines on these jet engines are designed to take in air the same way a peregrine falcon does. I thought that was pretty neat. I've also learned that peregrines, their heart can beat up to 600 beats per minute, which enables them to withstand those high G forces and minimizes fatigue. Their swept back pointed wings create an airfoil effect that maximizes maneuverability, speed, and lift, and so forth. Watching these guys online, it's sometimes easy to forget how fast, how fierce, and how extraordinary they really are. And they really are smart. This is a picture I took down in the Meadowlands on the Hackensack River. It was high tide, and a bunch of semi-palmated sandpipers were roosting on the dock. And I saw a young peregrine falcon perch on a nearby cell tower, and he dive bombed the flock, and they all scattered. And he took off, waited for the sandpipers to arrive again, and then he dive bombed them again, and they all scattered again. He waits a couple minutes, waits for them to return, and dive bombs them a third time. And at that point, he found a tired one and nailed it for lunch. And this is Darwinism at its best, survival of the fittest. You cull the flock of the weakest members. One of the problems with that is it makes, when rats are poisoned by rat poison, they become the weakest prey item. And that's why so many raptors end up getting poisoned by rat poison. So when you're writing an illustrated book about peregrines, you have to ask yourself, how graphic do you want the pictures of peregrines and their prey to be? You really can't tell their story without showing how fierce they are, but it's easy to see how they're demonized over the years. But I solved the problem thanks to Wayne Quinto. He took this incredible shot, one of my favorites in the book. This is a blue jay. This is a blue jay just after a peregrine falcon had hit it in midair. And I think it looks like the Palisades in the back, but Wayne, what an incredible shot. I do have a couple shots that are not too gruesome, unless you're a flicker fan. This is a peregrine having a flicker meal on the Palisades. I found that the peregrines love blue jays, especially flickers and pigeons. Some of the other aspects of the book that intrigued me, I think of these as other rabbit holes, but I wrote the book and wanted to include them as well. Peregrines have an incredible history. If you go to the Smithsonian, starting to look at the ancient Egypt exhibit, you'll see all kinds of iconography with peregrine falcons. They adorn caskets, the mummies themselves, pretty astounding. And then you fast forward to the Middle Ages, and English royalty would go hunting with these birds, and based on their rank in royalty, would be the kind of bird they were allowed to hunt with. So I think the king could hunt with a golden eagle, a gyrfalcon on down to serfs who could hunt with kestrels, which seemed pretty amazing to me. The trouble was gunpowder was invented, and suddenly your weapon to hunt the birds, the peregrine and other raptors, suddenly became the enemy in the competition. So people, instead of hunting with peregrine falcons, started shooting them. And this poster from early 20th century sort of sums it up. The trouble with gunpowder was invented was the falcons went from the hunting companions to competition and were soon demonized, especially by the racing pigeon fanciers. I came across this book called Animal Heroes, and the hero in the book is one of the heroes is not Peregrine Falcon. It is a racing pigeon heading from Albany to New York City. And the most dangerous part of the whole journey is when they fly past the Palisades. And here's an illustration from the book, and it says, "The pirates in ambush," sort of sums up how they were approached. These are birds to be shot, not cherished. About that same time, folks started collecting bird eggs. It was an immensely popular sport. Rare and hard to find eggs like peregrine eggs were especially valuable, in part because the eggs are beautiful, and in part because they're rare, and in part because you have to rappel down the side of a cliff to get them. And if you go on these old catalogs where you could buy American bird eggs, you could see that some of the most expensive eggs were peregrine falcon eggs. They sold for $3 a piece, and collectors like to have the entire clutch. So for a clutch of 4 peregrine falcon eggs, it cost $12, which in those days was real money. After the fad ended, people donated their egg collections to several places, including the American Museum of Natural History. And it turns out that those purloined eggs that we lament actually help save the peregrine falcon. And I'll explain that shortly. So most folks know that peregrines love to eat pigeons, but I was amazed what a surprising history they have, and also how the pigeon helped save the peregrine falcon from extinction. So how many people recognize this? This is the this is the peregrine diorama at the American Museum of Natural History, and it depicts a peregrine falcon nest on the Hudson River Palisades. Until 30 years ago, this was the closest thing that people could get to a live stream of a peregrine falcon nest. Pigeons and peregrines do not get along, as you may have gathered by now. I devoted an entire chapter to their adversarial relationship. They have battled each other in wartime for more than 150 years. And the problem is that these carrier pigeons would carry messages from behind the lines to send for help or call for reinforcements or food or whatever. And the enemy discovered we can take care of these carrier pigeons by sending up peregrine falcons to kill them. And it was very successful. They even tried putting whistles attached to the pigeons to scare away the falcons, but it didn't quite work. I started studying peregrine and pigeons on the Palisades and came across this item from World War II. This is Thunderbolt, and it's the first peregrine drafted, as they call it, by the U.S. Army. And the idea was they claimed they would send these peregrines up to go after the enemy carrier pigeons. But the more I looked into it, the more creative they were getting. Thunderbolt, they decided, they wanted to equip it with razor blades, and I'm not making this up. And on the theory they could have it attack enemy parachutists and cut the chute cord so they would plunge to their deaths. Of course, it doesn't make any sense because how do you get the Peregrine Falcon above the parachutist? Why not just shoot down the plane? Anyway, that's the kind of thing I would come across, and I thought that was pretty bizarre until I came across a secret plan to use peregrines in war. It's too bizarre and too gruesome to even get into here, but it is in the book if you want to read about it. World War II also brought DDT, which was in many ways wonderful. It killed the mosquitoes that caused malaria. You had all the head lice, all these other problems that war brought, and they found that DDT killed so many insects. And after the war, it spread over to the consumer sector with the better living through chemistry. And there'd be advertisements like the one on the right that said DDT is good for me, like it's being sung. And very early on, ornithologists and other scientists were saying places that you're spraying DDT are killing all the birds. But the chemists and others suggested, well, the good far outweighs the bad, and they kept using it until it was just hideous results. It got to the point where peregrine falcons were extinct east of the Mississippi and elsewhere. One of the things that happened in England was the pigeoneers were still upset that the peregrine falcons were killing their pigeons, and they asked the British government to do something about it. British government did a survey and discovered that peregrine falcon populations before the age of the internet and that sort of thing, they found that peregrine falcon populations were plummeting. And they didn't know what to do about it and what the cause was until a guy named Derek Ratcliffe picked up an old peregrine falcon egg from one of these collections and picked up a newer egg from a DDT nest and discovered how much lighter the DDT eggs were than the pre-DDT eggs. And so he went to all these old egg collections and all these museums, weighed the eggs from the old days, then weighed the new eggs, and they did tests and found that the DDT was sucking the calcium out of the eggs, making them too soft for the peregrines to incubate them. So now you have these birds on the brink of extinction, and they don't know how to bring them back. You can certainly raise peregrine falcons in captivity, but the trouble is, like other birds, they become imprinted on their owner. So a gentleman named Heinz Meng from SUNY New Paltz, up in New Paltz and Mohonk, he was a falconer, and he had read in World War II that a Nazi general had once successfully raised one in captivity, and he had to figure out how to do it without imprinting on a human being. So he built this huge chamber, where a breeding chamber, and he had a little scrape there where the eggs were hatched. And then Heinz Meng, from their first days, had a little trap door. I'm not making this up. He would open the trap door and feed the baby peregrines with hand puppets so they wouldn't be imprinted on human beings. And he kept doing this gradually as they got bigger, different methods, but he raised peregrine falcons that could survive in the wild. And this was a huge step. Then Tom Cade, the gentleman on the right from Cornell, figured out how to replicate this process at a large scale. He started the hawk barn at Cornell, and they were producing all kinds of peregrine falcons to reintroduce into the wild. They were aware that peregrine falcons, if they're released back on the cliffs, they were falling prey to great horned owls, and they had the great idea of bringing the peregrine falcons to nest in cities. And because the peregrines have adapted so well in cities without very many predators, That enabled people to put live stream cameras on the buildings, and now we can all watch the peregrines. So we've come full circle from they were almost extinct until now that anyone anywhere in the world can watch nesting peregrines year round. I monitor peregrines for the state of New Jersey, and I like to say it's a lot of fun, but it's basically a lot of work. You go there once or twice a week for an hour or so and look through a spotting scope and look at something about 300 yards away and try to determine how many eggs there are, when they hatched, and trying to gauge when they'll be the right age for them to be banded. And they have to be a certain age because if they're too small, the band will be too tight on them. And if they get older, they start wandering away from the nest and they're very hard to get hold of, let alone band. So I was very pleased when I was doing my research that it turns out that the peregrine nest that I monitor is the same one that's in the American Museum of Natural History. And this is the peregrine bringing in a prey item. It's an amazing diorama. You can't see, it looks like the peregrine suspended in air like it's actually flying, but they have some elaborate system that makes it look that way. But the peregrine is flying in to feed the two youngsters. And if you look there, you'll see a bunch of pigeon bones. And I was with an ornithologist from the American Museum of Natural History, and he pointed out that in the diorama, if you look very, very closely, one of the chicken bones in the lower left-hand corner, one of the pigeon bones actually has a leg band. It's from a racing pigeon. And I read a clipping where they went to a peregrine nest on the Palisades and discovered like 8 pigeon bands. And I think this was probably one of those 8 they decided to incorporate into the diorama. I can also vouch it's very realistic. They actually have poison ivy in the diorama as well. So one of the cool things for me was I like to go under the scrape, under the peregrine nest, and there's a plucking perch there. And often the peregrines will cough up pellets like owls will. And I was walking under the nest one day, and I saw a pellet with a shiny little green item sticking out. So I collected the pellet, brought it home, got a couple toothpicks, picked it apart, and discovered that inside the pellet was a racing pigeon leg band.
Wow.
And I just thought back to the incredible diorama in the American Museum of Natural History with a pigeon leg band. And right under that same nest, I found a leg band probably 100 years later. So I thought that was pretty amazing. Equally cool, I got to watch the DEP biologists when they banded the peregrines on the side of the cliff, the one that I monitored. And I've been watching them for 300 yards since like Groundhog Day. Once a week, I'd go there, whether it was freezing, raining, you name it, and try to see how many eggs, how many had hatched. And I really couldn't see them very well because it was so far away. I watched Kathy Clark and these other biologists rappel down the side of the cliff, and I'd watch the peregrines dive bomb them. That's why you can see they're wearing hard hats, because it's risking their lives to go down there. They're rappelling down there, which is dangerous enough without peregrine falcons whizzing by. They often carried umbrellas as well, just to fend off these angry peregrines. So one of my biggest thrills was Kathy then got to the top of the cliff and emailed me a picture of the 3 young that I had been studying from 200, 300 yards away, freshly banded on the Palisades. And that gave me an immense feeling of satisfaction because I'd never really seen these guys before. And I was a proud parent in absentia or whatever you want to call it. But that was a real highlight. Then another highlight came just a couple months ago. A gentleman was on a Bergen County Audubon birding walk, and he took a picture of a peregrine flying by with leg bands. And the pictures were so sharp that he was able to track down, send the numbers to Kathy Clark. And turns out that big peregrine was one of those little babies that Kathy had taken a picture of in the nest 2 years earlier. So that was a great satisfaction to me and made the whole experience of writing the book and monitoring these falcons worthwhile. The other thing that I wanted to do with the book is, as I researched this book and other books, I was struck by how many books that people have and sort of leave on their coffee table. Kids pick up and they look at them and get inspired themselves. The picture on the left is I think the Story of Bird Life by Arthur Allen, the Cornell professor. And Heinz Meng, when he was a kid, saw that picture in the book, fell in love with peregrines, and decided when he grew up he was going to become a falconer. He was going to go to Cornell and learn all about peregrine falcons. And he's later the one who became the one who really saved them from extinction. The other book that pops up all the time is My Side of the Mountain by Jean George. And I think now it's Jean George Craighead, but she wrote about hunting with a peregrine as a child, and a very famous book if you haven't read it. So I got a big thrill when a friend sent me a picture of her grandson who had seen a peregrine falcon on a cartoon show and fell in love, and sent her a copy of the book. And her little grandson, John, runs around going, "I'm a peregrine falcon. I'm stooping. I'm stooping." And it just made me feel great, because I always write books for adults, but I like to have a lot of pictures in them in case a kid will pick it up and enjoy it as well. So here is my free photography tip. It does not work. This one does not work with peregrine falcons. This is a picture of a lizard I took in Puerto Rico. And when I took the picture, I realized it was pointless. So I asked a friend to give me a quarter, and I put the quarter next to the lizard, and suddenly it's a whole different lizard. And you take pictures of birds or lizards, you have no idea how big they are unless you have a quarter next to them. The trouble with peregrine falcons is you're not going to be able to put a quarter next to one. So Ray Gilbert, a photographer up at State Line, offered this photography tip. And that is, when you take a picture of a peregrine falcon attacking a prey item, don't try to take a picture like this unless you're a great photographer like Wayne or Kevin or Ray. He suggests aim your camera at the prey item, and then you'll get a picture when the peregrine hits it. So I've got to try that. Just a question of timing. But thanks for listening tonight. Thanks for watching. And I'll stop sharing my screen and happy to answer questions.
I have a very basic question. Where can I get your book that's not Amazon? I don't want to support Amazon.
Very good question. I think it's called bookshop.org.
Okay.
And they donate some of the money that they raise back to the independent bookstores. And I'm a huge fan of independent bookstores.
Terrific. Thank you.
Jim, is there a reason why there are no falcons around the Great Falls? Looks to me like those cliffs would be great nesting places for them.
Good question. Don't have an answer. I will look into it though and try to find out.
Okay, I have one question for you. I spent quite some time at the Palisades this winter and had great times with the falcons and with my camera, and I mean it was just amazing. When I came there first, I got a little worried because the female had sort of the left wing hanging. And every picture I have of it, the left wing is sort of hanging down. She can't really get it to sort of sit on the back. And I was a little bit afraid that she was injured, but it doesn't seem to affect her. Have you seen this, and do you know the reason for it?
I think maybe Wayne could help as well. It turned out there was a real soap opera with the female peregrines at State Line. There were three females there at various times, fairly closely together, and one had no leg bands, one had one leg band, and one had two leg bands. And the one with one leg band won out. So check your pictures. I'm guessing that the peregrine you photographed with a bad wing was probably not the bird with one leg band. Wayne decided to call it Una because of the one leg band, and the name stuck.
Okay, I will check. Thank you.
Other questions? Did I see a hand?
I have a question. So as far as monitoring peregrines, how do you find out where the nests are? And also, like I know there's several peregrine nests that are nearby, and I've always been told like to keep it a secret because of falconers stealing eggs, this or that, or what is your take on that?
Absolutely. You keep any nesting bird, you keep it a secret. It's not just people stealing eggs or photographers who try to get the best shot they can. It's not conservation photographers. It's these, I just call them clowns with cameras who have no scruples, want to get as close to a bird as they can. If they flush it, then they've got a great shot of the bird in flight. And it's very detrimental to the bird. I know with my owl box, I've lost nesting owls that abandoned the nest because the photographers got too close to the nest box. On the Palisades, I know you're going to say, well, no one can rappel down the Palisades to get to the eggs. And even if they could, there'd be so much poison ivy, they wouldn't be worth their while. I think a big concern these days is drones. And once people find out where a peregrine nest is, and they can have access to a drone, they can fly in and get all kinds of pictures. It soon gets out and it turns into a mess. It harasses the peregrines. I think there's been some videos of peregrines actually attacking and destroying drones that have flown too close to their nest.
Jim, just to follow up on what you were saying, the peregrines are so popular now with Instagrams and Facebooks. There are a lot of photographers who go to State Line now, and some of them don't have the proper respect for the birds or their space. So it's a really difficult thing to monitor. And Joachim, in response to what you were noting, as Jim said, the beast who had been there from 2016 until late in 2023 suddenly disappeared. 3 females showed up, and this was very typical historically that there are always floaters in the peregrine population, and if there's a vacancy somewhere, there'll be a peregrine to fill in. The female that did fill in did have an issue with one of its wings. However, that bird was also replaced, and it's difficult to say why that's taking place. The peregrines that nest in the marshland, which was not traditional historically, but when they were hacked, they felt that they'd be protected from great horned owls. Those birds are having a much faster turnover rate because of avian flu. So this is another issue that the peregrines are facing that we're going to have to figure out a way to address.
Yeah, I got into that in the book. I could have mentioned it tonight, but yes, avian flu is a huge problem. The birds along the coast were introduced, as Wayne said, with these hack towers. They go after shorebirds and other migratory birds, and they're the ones that are really suffering the most from the avian flu. And it's sort of like rat poison. Once the peregrine eats the the bird with avian flu, they can get it as well. And it's been a huge problem. The peregrine falcon populations along the coast in New Jersey are a real concern these days.
So back to my question: if we do see or locate a peregrine nest, is there someone we should we be contacting the DEP? Is there someone we should, as far as for the people who are doing the monitoring, so they have more birds to monitor?
I'd be happy to monitor more nests. I monitor one under a bridge also, and it's amazing to see the difference. You can call the DEP, ask for Kathy Clark, let her know, or you can tell Wayne or me, and we'll pass it along. It's always exciting to find a new nest, and they pop up in the most unlikely places these days. There was one who nested in Cliffside Park on the side of a residential high-rise on the patio. The owner of the condo was in Florida for the winter, and a peregrine laid 3 eggs on the patio and actually on the balcony, and they actually hatched, and 2 of them survived. So real estate's at a premium, so you never know where they might pop up.
Is the nest under the bridge you're talking about, is that public record? Is that public information?
No.
No, okay. But
Uh,
the one that most people know about is that I don't see, that's the other tricky thing. Like there are certain nests that are so impossible to get to that I can't imagine that it would be a threat to them. In fact, I know like the Riverkeeper, when they do their tours, the one I'm talking about, they point out the nest
yeah, I used to
on the Hackensack.
when I worked for the Meadowlands Commission. I did that as well. I'd point out the peregrines under the bridges, and it didn't seem to harm them. But that was then, this is now, and I would think twice about doing it. If it's a bridge and it's over the water, then people are going to have trouble doing too much damage. But if it's on land, especially, human nature is to get as close to a bird as possible to photograph it. It's just the way people are. And if you make it fly away, you get great action shots as well. So that's why I try to keep it a secret. But, they do nest on bridges. Depends where on the bridge they nest, how much of a danger it is.
Yeah, that's actually unethical. And I've listened to Melissa Grew speak about that. She does some very good talks about the ethics of bird photography.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's just different classes of photographers. If you're a naturalist taking the picture, then you know to leave the thing alone. Don't get too close. No sudden movements, all those things. But people with a camera haven't been taught the ethics of photography. They don't seem to care. All they want is a good shot. And a flight shot is better than a perch shot.
I mean, when it comes to birds of prey, and especially owls, there are so many photographers that does just anything, to get close.
Yeah, I got into that with the Screech owl book, and this sounds weird, but I call it like owl porn. When you see a picture of a great horned owl that's eyes bugged out, it just makes me sick.
I know I told somebody that back home in Sweden where I live, we actually have one owl that we inform photographers about. Anytime, they ask us, do you know where we can get some decent pictures of owls? We have one tawny owl that nests in a place, and that's where we send them.
Great. That's the whole thing. All these raptors have personalities, and they respond differently. So you may have a peregrine falcon like the beast who loves to have her picture taken, to the point where people were driving from Maryland and elsewhere, right, Wayne, to get the picture of the beast. People were showing up. They would get to state line at dawn with their tripods, walk in, put their tripod on the cliff facing where they would get the peregrine shot, and then come back later and get upset if someone had moved their tripod while they were gone. That's how competitive these photographers are. It's pretty amazing.
Okay. Jim, is there anything we can do as a bird club regarding your coalition against rat poison?
Sure, you can join it. if you haven't already. I'm not sure.
Can you give us the information?
Absolutely. Just write to me. Right now, we're working on a name, sort of protect our wildlife and pets, something like that. We don't want to sound too negative about rat poison, so we try to do a positive spin. But we have almost every major environmental group, animal rights group, animal rehabilitator in the state, and we're trying to get a state legislator now to sponsor the legislation. We're at the beginning of the legislative cycle, so we have 2 years to get it done. We have support from within the Sherrill administration, so hopefully we can get this done. It's happening in other states, and it's very gratifying to see it happen elsewhere. In the meantime, our group's going to start an education campaign, just telling people about how to make their backyard safer. My rule of thumb is don't use anything in your yard that ends in the word side, like insecticide, pesticide, herbicide. Side means poison, and it is usually an equal opportunity killer. These things are not dedicated to one thing. They will kill a lot of items, some slowly, some right away.
I'll be writing to you because I'm a board certified toxicologist. And what I've been doing is talking to a few of the gardening things around here. And I'm semi-retired. I'm a pharmacist and I did drug development, but I love birds. I'm a volunteer at the Raptor Trust.
Excellent. They're a great group.
I actually am also an ambassador for the American Bird Conservancy, and I know Hardy there. So I'm loving hearing you because I wanted to do educational programs and I was trying to work on some things on my own. So if I could join you and help you, I think that would, for me, that would be really very rewarding.
That'd be great. Very rewarding for me as well. So,
yeah, so
welcome aboard. Let's get in touch.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up.
My email is celeryfarm@gmail.
Okay, I'll write that down.
Celeryfarm@gmail.
Okay.
Any other questions for Jim?
I've got one in the chat. I could read it out here.
Sure.
But first of all, came in a little bit late, but just bought the book. Looks awesome. Thank you, Jim. So I'm pretty new to birding and nature photography, just about a year now. And in the chat, I threw a little bit of a sort of a snip from one of my pictures, which my favorite subject I've ever photographed, which was a peregrine falcon I was sitting on the beach with. We were just enjoying life together in Rhode Island in October 2025.
I see it.
Beautiful morning. And my question is, the silver band on the left leg seems to run counter to everything I was reading about. Everything said that you would expect a silver band on the right leg and maybe a colored band on the left leg. And I was able to assemble a lot of the characters from the band from the thousands of photos that I have with this thing as we were just, again, just enjoying life on the beach in Rhode Island. And I emailed the band reports team at USGS, and it's been several months. I know they got backed up. I know they got shut down for a while. They must have some big backlog, but nobody ever ended up getting back to me. And I would love to try to figure out why that is. Why is the banding not maybe as expected? But again, I'm new to this, so I don't really know what's going on. So I just wanted to ask if you know anything about it, or if you know anyone I could talk to.
You can send me the band number. Let's see if we can find out.
All right.
I'm not sure about which band goes where. Wish I could help more.
Fair enough. I'll assemble the characters I was able to put together. And you said celeryfarm@gmail.com?
Yeah. Usually
Excellent.
if it's just that aluminum band, that means it was banded as an adult after it was captured as an adult. And the green band, typically for New Jersey, means it was banded as a juvenile.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it.
And Jim, what's your next book you're working on?
Not sure. I have a few. We'll see which works best, but thanks for asking.
Well, when
Jim,
you're ready, you know where to find us.
Yes. Thanks.
Jim, can you?
I have a question for everybody. This is the first Zoom talk I've done, so I pardon for the little glitches and things. I guess I need to work them out. But I wondered about for a Zoom audience, how was the length of the talk?
It was
It's
great.
spot on.
It was about right?
Yes.
I thought it was too short. Sorry.
Oh,
I really liked it. It was sorry. I
I'll pay
really
you
liked
later.
Well, typically it ran about 45 minutes with like we've had about 15 or so for questions. So that's an average for us.
Great.
If people are complaining that's too short, that's a good thing.
Yes, leave them wanting more, right?
Jim,
That's
that
a
seemed a
good
little
thing.
long. I kind of snoozed out about midway through.
Yes, so did I. But thank you all for your feedback, and I hope you enjoyed the talk.
Oh,
Very
and
much.
thanks for the shout out for Kevin Watson. I got to tell you, if anyone wants to follow a great photographer, he is. I've known Kevin a really long time. His photos are phenomenal, and this guy goes around the world. The stuff he comes back with is just unbelievable,
Yes, Kevin is
and,
terrific.
and the nicest guy in the world.
Yes, I'd also have to give a plug for Wayne Quinto here. He's done some
Oh,
beautiful.
Wayne, forget it.
He's done some
Yeah.
excellent, beautiful exhibitions of uh, Peregrine Falcon photography for it's Sherman Hoffman elsewhere. His pictures are terrific as well. I wish I could use more of his, but I've been working with Kevin for so long. He was the natural choice.
Yeah, I
But
posted a
Wayne
few
is
of
terrific.
I posted a few of Wayne's photos to promote this event on Facebook on the Montclair group, and people thought it was fake. They're like, "No, how could something look so beautiful and so how could he capture?" They couldn't even fathom that it was a real photo. They thought it had to be like some sort of black magic or something.
Yes, Wayne also has 3 pictures right now on exhibit at Sherman Hoffman. So if you're in that area, check it out.
Thank you, Jim. Real informative. You taught us a lot.
Great. Thanks all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much. It was beautiful to meet you.
Right. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you all. We'll see you in person for June.